Hello everyone, I'm Mike and today we bring you a DIY phone stand with switches. For this project we will use some spare wood we had laying around, some simple switches and some cheap USB hubs. You will also need some screws or nails, and for those a screwdriver or hammer, a saw, and optionally some bended metal sheets like the ones you can use for placing shelves on the wall. You will also need a rotary tool or some kind of drill. If you want to get fancy, don't forget to get some sandpaper. For the electronics you'll need a soldering iron, some solder and if possible some solder flux. We started by grabbing a piece of wood and checking the position of our USB ports. Then we started to put the pieces together so we can get an idea of what we actually want to do. If you prefer, you can always use metal or even cardboard for this project. We are using wood as we want something durable and that looks nice. Alternatively, you can always start by drawing something on paper, then think about a way of doing it with wood or whatever material you are using. There are some really interesting projects and ideas out there. You can even find Lego phone stands, or if you are a pure minimalist, you can do a simple mobile stand with a binder clip in a few seconds. This project came out because I needed two different phone stands with accessible USB ports, one for my place without switches and one for work, as at work I regularly need to switch devices on and off, and constantly connecting and disconnecting the USB cables always ends up causing them to break faster. If you constantly need to connect and disconnect USB devices, a simple switch will save you quite some bucks, as your USB cables won't break as often. Now that we have something that already looks worthy of holding our phones, we will be cutting out the excess of wood and placing two bended metal sheets so that the whole thing doesn't fall. Remember to be versatile. If you don't have screws, well, screw it and go for nails, or the other way around. Once we have the basic part of our project, we can start focusing on making it look better, and after we will start adding the USB ports and switches. If you want to hide the visible gaps between the pieces of wood, you can always use cheap acrylic or silicone. Now it's time for some painting. One of the stands will be white and the other one will be black. You can use a spray paint can or paint by hand using a brush, whatever you prefer, as long as the paint is appropriate for what you're using to build the stand, in our case, wood. If you're wondering why is there an extra gap in the piece of wood where our phones will be standing, we ended up adding that extra gap so that the phones don't sleep when we are using them. When you're done, mark the place you want USB ports to be, and it's time for some drilling. Don't forget to add an extra hole for the USB cable to get to the phone, unless you only want to use it sideways. You can also remove the case of the USB hub and desolder the end connection of our USB female ports. And very important, don't forget to make a note of which cable goes where, for when we have to solder everything again. After deciding we wanted the USB ports inside the wood instead of just laying around outside, we finished drilling. We placed them and have another look at the overall design. So far, so good. It's time to install the switches on the white version of our phone stand. First, we want to find the best position and drill an extra hole for each of the switches. Then we want to cut the outer layer of the cable to have access to the wires inside. If the cables are labeled correctly, there should be a red cable for the positive, which holds 5 volts when connected, a black for the ground, and a white and a green for the data. Just as a small note, if you have an orange cable instead and no black wire, then the orange is a positive, blue and green are data, and the white one is the negative. In any of those cases, the switch will be soldered to the red or orange wire, so wire your positive cable to one of the pins of the switch and add an extra one between the other pin of the switch, which will be later connected to the USB hub circuit board. For holding the switches in place, we used a bit of silicone. We are using a 4-port USB hub. However, for this project we only want 3 visible ports. so we will be placing the fourth one on the sides of the stand. Before resoldering everything, if you have some iron flux, spread a bit of it on the circuit board as it will help the solder to stick to the right place. And now you can start soldering everything back together. Don't forget to always check at least twice if the connections are correct. When we are done and sure that everything is in the right place, we can connect the USB hub to a simple USB power supply and check if all of the USB ports are working. If you don't have a specific device for testing, you may connect your phone and check if it's charging. To make sure that connections will hold and to prevent damage from, let's say, water, we will be adding a bit of hot glue to the circuit board. Remember, that cup of tea next to you can always get spilled and you don't want your awesome new phone stand to go kaput. Finally, when everything is dry, we will be removing the excess of silicone and rubber from the stand and clean it. Once again, time for painting. This time don't forget to cover your USB ports, otherwise the paint will cover the contacts and the ports won't work. At the end, you can always add an extra layer of matte or glossy paint for the final touch. We can now have a look at our finished phone stands, both simple but nice looking and most importantly very functional. For someone who has to work with phones all day, this is almost a must-have. The black one will be sitting in my desk at home. We can connect a personal phone, work phone, and the best part is that it doesn't even move when we try to use the QWERTY keyboard in the Galaxy Epsilon Pro. We even have an extra port if we want to connect a USB flash drive. The white one with switches is sitting at work. It looks fabulous and everyone that gets in the office always asks, what the hell is that? Oh well. That's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. We hope you like this simple project. Don't forget to stay tuned for more, and once again we wish you a wonderful day.